Ben Whittaker is 70 years old, and he's discovered that retirement isn't the endless vacation the brochures promised, it's a relentless, quiet void. The silence in his pristine Brooklyn brownstone is heavy, punctuated only by the rhythmic ticking of a vintage wall clock and the ritualistic, precise folding of his daily handkerchief. He's tried everything to fill the hours: morning yoga in the park, adventurous cooking classes, mastering Mandarin, and stamps in his passport from every corner of the globe. Yet, the hole in his life remains stubbornly open. One overcast morning, while standing outside a local market, a vibrant flyer catches his eye: a senior intern program at a fast-growing e-commerce startup. About the fit. It's a world of transparent glass walls, sprawling open floor plans, and 20-somethings on MacBooks, a staggering departure from the massive phone book company he managed for decades. Ben decides to film a video cover letter. Sitting before his webcam, he doesn't lead with his impressive resume, he leads with his soul. He speaks with a gentle, gravelly resonance about the fundamental human need to be needed. His voice is steady, carrying the quiet weight of a man who has watched the world transition from analog to digital but refuses to let the tide of time pull him under. It isn't a plea for a job. It is a powerful declaration of continued relevance in a fast-forward world. The camera cuts sharply to the frantic, high-octane heart of About the Fit, a converted warehouse buzzing with electric energy. Jules Austin isn't just the CEO, she is the lightning bolt that powers the entire engine. She cycles through the narrow office aisles on a sleek bicycle just to shave seconds off her commute between departments, her eyes constantly darting between racks of vibrant clothing samples and glowing monitors. She's a relentless perfectionist, the kind who personally answers customer service calls to ensure that unboxing experience feels like a gift rather than a transaction. When her assistant informs her that she's been assigned a 70-year-old intern as part of a community outreach program, her reaction is a visible mix of physical exhaustion and deep-seated skepticism. She doesn't have time for a mentor, she barely has time to blink. Meanwhile, Ben arrives for his first day dressed in a sharp, vintage suit and a silk tie, standing like a pillar of timeless tradition amidst a chaotic sea of hoodies, beanies, and sneakers. He meets his fellow interns, bewildered 20-somethings who stare at his leather briefcase as if it were a prehistoric artifact. The wait finally ends when Ben is summoned to the glass-walled inner sanctum of Jules Austin. When Ben enters, she gives him a polite but deeply dismissive greeting. She's visibly overwhelmed by the idea of managing a senior intern and tells him quite bluntly that she's not great with older people. She informs him that she'll email him if she needs anything at all, which, given her tone, clearly translates to never. Ben doesn't take offense, he simply nods, observing the cracks in her composure that she tries so hard to hide. He leaves her office knowing that while she thinks she doesn't have time for him, she is exactly the person who needs his steady presence the most. As the first week unfolds, Ben becomes a silent, dignified observer amidst the corporate hurricane. He watches from the sidelines as Jules navigates a predatory board of directors that quietly plots to replace her with a seasoned male CEO, catching the subtle flicker of hurt in her eyes that she expertly masks with professional steel and a forced smile. While every other employee ignores the growing mountain of clutter on the crap table in the center of the office, a graveyard of old coffee cups and random samples, Ben decides to take the initiative. Early one morning, before the golden New York sun has fully claimed the Brooklyn skyline, a small but profound gesture of creating order in a chaotic universe. When Jules walks in and sees the transformation, she stops dead in her tracks, stunned by the sudden clarity of the space. It's the first moment she truly sees Ben Whittaker. He isn't just a relic of the past, he's a man who notices the small, vital things that everyone else is far too busy to care about. Slowly, the younger staff begins to gravitate toward his desk like iron filings to a magnet, seeking his sage advice on everything from romantic blunders to the proper way to tuck in a dress shirt. Ben is quietly becoming the office's indispensable anchor. Fate intervenes when Ben notices Jules's regular driver drinking on the job. Without making a scene or causing a confrontation, Ben quietly replaces him, stepping into the role of Jules's personal chauffeur. Inside the car, the atmosphere is stiflingly awkward. Jules is buried in her phone, barking orders and managing crises, treating the back seat like a mobile war room. Ben is the silent observer in the rearview mirror. He sees her vulnerability, the way she skips lunch, the way she stresses over a bad customer review, and the exhaustion she tries to hide behind her bangs. When she finally notices him, she's defensive, even trying to have him reassigned because he's too observant. But Ben remains unshakable. He doesn't judge her chaos, he anticipates her needs. He finds a faster route, offers a handkerchief when she's stressed, and slowly, the wall of professional frost begins to thaw. For the first time, Jules realizes that having someone truly see her might be an asset rather than a threat. Ben's presence becomes a sanctuary of silence in a world that is constantly screaming for her immediate attention. The office is dark, save for the glow of Jules's monitor. She's still working, fueled by caffeine and the immense pressure of investors who want to hire a real CEO to oversee her. Ben is there, too, still at his desk, refusing to leave until the boss does. Jules finally invites him over, and they share a pizza. This is the moment the dynamic truly shifts from employer to confidant. As they look at her Facebook profile together, Ben asks simple, human questions that force Jules to slow down. She admits her deepest fears about losing control of her baby, the company she built from her kitchen floor. Ben listens with the patience of a man who has seen businesses rise and fall for 40 years. He doesn't offer trendy business jargon, he offers perspective. He tells her she's a visionary and that the CEO problem is just noise. In this quiet, dimly lit space, the intern becomes the mentor, and the boss becomes the student. He reminds her that she earned her seat at the table, and for the first time in a long time, Jules feels like she has someone truly on her side who isn't asking for anything in return. The movie takes a comedic turn when Jules accidentally sends a scathing, wine-fueled email about her mother to her mother. Panicked, she recruits Ben and the boys from the office to break into her mother's house and delete the email from the computer. This sequence is pure cinematic fun, styled like a low-stakes Ocean's 11. Ben, the seasoned pro, leads the group of bumbling millennials through the suburbs. We see the contrast between Ben's calm under pressure and the younger guy's frantic, clumsy energy. They navigate alarm systems and barking dogs, eventually succeeding in the mission. On the drive back, as the adrenaline fades, the bond between Ben and the younger staff is solidified. He's no longer just the old guy in the suit, he's the leader of the pack. More importantly, he's become the person Jules trusts to fix her messes, both professional and deeply personal. He has earned his place in the inner circle, proving that a sharp mind and a steady hand are timeless skills, even in the digital age. This ridiculous heist bridges the gap between generations, turning a group of co-workers into a genuine team. The narrative deepens as we move from the office to the home. Ben spends more time with Jules's family, her husband Matt and daughter Paige. From the outside, it looks like a perfect modern arrangement, the powerhouse CEO mother and the supportive stay-at-home dad. However, Ben's keen, experienced eyes catch the cracks in the foundation. He sees Matt's subtle resentment and Jules's lingering guilt for being away. During a birthday party for one of Paige's friends, Ben observes the other helicopter moms whispering about Jules and her success. He sees the isolation that comes with her drive. Meanwhile, Ben starts a charming, slow-burn romance with Fiona, the office massage therapist. Their relationship acts as a grounded, healthy counterpoint to the frenetic energy of the younger characters. It's a reminder that life, even at 70, is still full of new beginnings and emotional growth, provided you're willing to keep your heart open to them. Ben shows us that age isn't a barrier to intimacy, and that a life well lived is one where you still find joy in the small, quiet connections of the day. While driving Paige home, Ben witnesses something that shatters the domestic illusion. He sees Matt with another woman. The air in the car becomes heavy, and the tone of the film shifts instantly. Ben's face reflects a profound, protective sadness. He's caught in a moral vice. Does he tell Jules and potentially destroy her world, or does he stay silent and let her live a lie? He carries this secret like a physical weight throughout the day. When Jules later breaks down in a hotel room during a business trip to San Francisco, she confesses that she already knows. She's been ignoring the affair, hoping it's just a temporary phase caused by her busy schedule. She blames herself, wondering if hiring a CEO will save her marriage by giving her more time at home. Ben firmly rejects this logic. He tells her that her success didn't cause this, and she shouldn't trade her passion for a false sense of security or a husband who isn't being faithful. It's a raw, emotional peak for the film, showing the deep bond of trust they've built. Ben isn't just an intern anymore, he's the moral compass she desperately needs. In San Francisco, Jules meets with a top-tier CEO candidate who seems perfect on paper. He's experienced, polished, and ready to take the reins. For a moment, Jules is tempted by the idea of freedom, of being just a creative again and focusing on her family. Ben watches from the sidelines, his silence speaking volumes. He knows Jules better than she knows herself at this point. He sees that giving up the CEO chair wouldn't be a relief, it would be a surrender. In a moment of clarity, she visits Ben at his brownstone, the first time she has stepped into his private world. Ben tells her that about the fit is her soul, and no one will ever care for it the way she does. He reminds her that she shouldn't have to apologize for being big or successful. This isn't just about business, it's about a woman claiming her worth in a world that often asks successful women to shrink themselves to make others comfortable. Ben's belief in her gives her the strength to face her reality. He validates her ambition as a virtue, not a flaw, helping her realize that her identity is tied to the beautiful thing she built. Returning to Brooklyn, the atmosphere is somber. Jules is on the verge of signing over her company to the new CEO, believing it's the only way to win back her husband and save her home life. But the dynamic shifts when Matt shows up at the office unexpectedly. He's disheveled, humbled, and clearly broken by his own choices. In a room full of glass walls, he confesses his infidelity and his deep regret. He tells her that he doesn't want her to give up her company for him, he wants her to keep it because she's brilliant, and he wants to earn his way back into her life. It's a moment of accountability that shifts the stakes entirely. Jules realizes that the sacrifice she was about to make was based on a lie. She doesn't need to choose between her career and her dignity. With a renewed sense of purpose and a massive weight lifted from her shoulders, she decides to remain the CEO of her own life. She sees that she can't fix her marriage by breaking herself, and with Matt finally being honest, there is a path forward that doesn't involve losing the work she loves so much. The film ends not in a high-tech boardroom, but in the quiet of a public park. Jules, finally at peace with her decisions, goes looking for Ben. She finds him in the middle of a Tai Chi class, surrounded by other seniors, moving with a fluid, meditative grace. She starts to tell him about her decision, that she's staying on as CEO and that she and Matt are working things out. Ben, however, doesn't stop his movements or rush the moment. He simply smiles and invites her to join him. The final shots are of the two of them, the young, high-octane entrepreneur and the 70-year-old intern, moving in perfect sync. The frantic pace of the startup world fades into the background, replaced by a sense of balance. Ben didn't just help Jules fix her company, he helped her find her center. As the camera pulls back, we see that the internship was never truly about the job, it was about the timeless value of human connection and the wisdom that only comes with time. They both found exactly what they were looking for, a way to feel whole in a world that never stops moving.